This is what we call a drop wax block. It's a little device to show you the steps that one follows in waxing up a crown initially. We won't go into a lot of detail of the Peter K. Thomas method, but basically what you do is you place cones where you want your cusps of your teeth. This happens to be this set of teeth, which is the lower right molar area. This is tooth 31, 30, 29, and 28. These are the same teeth that have been cut off flat. You add cones where you want your cusp, then you connect the cones with your triangular ridges, and then you put in your marginal ridges and your circumferential aspects of the tooth, and then you do your final wax up to make it look like the natural teeth. This block here is for you to practice on. So you'll use those steps. Okay, I need cones. I need to put cones here, and then I'll connect the cones, and then I'll do the circumferential parts, and then we'll put in the root grooves and finish off the waxing in this point. In this section here, this happens to be upper right molar, tooth number 2, 3, 4, and 5. What we want you to do is then create, like you've done this tooth, only it's a little bit different anatomy. You'll notice some different anatomy on these teeth. So we want you to create that by letting these be your models and then create the wax up on these. Before we get there, however, we want you to practice utilizing the wax and getting to become familiar with how wax reacts, and so we've got a couple of patterns here that we want you to duplicate as you're starting to learn how to deal with the wax. The first section are cones, small cones and large cones, and you use this track right here to lay down as many cones as you want to in order to develop the technique so you can learn to lay these cones down. The next section is this track here, which shows basically how you lay down wax in to create a ridge, a nice thin ridge, without it becoming too wide. And so we have you develop in these areas this type of pattern as you learn to drag the wax or paint the wax down so you can create a ridge such as. We recognize that this is not an easy process, and so don't get discouraged. Just keep practicing, and eventually you'll be able to deal with the wax. The real issue here is understanding how the wax behaves. You can lay wax down anywhere, but to be able to develop cones and such like this is a real technique that takes some practice in order to be able to do it. So don't get frustrated.